Hi everyone, it's Cindy Porter here with you today to share with you my contribution to Soul Journey 2018. This is Soul Starter number 8, and I have chosen the quote, "We are all broken, that's how the light gets in." And I've created a simple journal page to go along with that theme. I began by gessoing a piece of watercolour cardstock, just with a nice coat of gesso as my base to work on. I just applied that with a silicone brush. I then chose to use fluid acrylics for the colour and technique that I wanted to share today. And what I did with the fluid acrylics was I added a little water to them, making them even more liquid. But the sole purpose, more than that, for adding the water was to react with the isopropyl alcohol, which I applied with a pipette. This technique is loads of fun and creates really interesting backgrounds to work with. So if you add a little bit of water to your acrylic paint, and I find the fluid paints work best, you can then use the alcohol to react with that water and create these awesome effects in the paint. This technique looks fabulous layered up, so you will see me going over and over with different colours and different layers of fluid acrylics here, and each time drying in between before adding the next layer, and then reapplying the isopropyl alcohol through the pipette. Here in Australia we can buy isocol in the green bottle with the alligator on the front from most supermarkets and places like that. Here I'm adding yet another colour. What happens when you add the alcohol is it reacts with the water, pushes it away, pushes the paint away, and that lets your previous layers and your previous colours shine through. So you get this really deep, rich, amazing textural effect on the background, and it is so easy to do and so effective. So I will just continue on adding more layers of paint, fluid paint with water added to it so that it can react with the alcohol, and then pipette on some alcohol. It looks really great if you add different colours to your layers, but you need to let each layer dry in between. Either use your heat gun and actually dry it, or just let it dry naturally before you apply the next layer of paint. If you don't let it dry, you'll end up with mudded up colours, and there's nothing worse than getting a whole pile of mud on your page. So you'll just see me adding various colours so that each time I add the alcohol, I get to see through those layers to the previous colours that I've added. So hopefully when I finish this piece, when you look in those little circles, you will see right through to the very beginnings where I added the teal and the blue. So, as they say, each piece of art that we do goes through an ugly stage, and this is probably definitely the ugly stage of this one. But just keep going with the layers. One important thing to note is you don't want to apply the acrylic paint over the whole surface at once, because if it dries before you get the alcohol on it, then the effect and the technique will not work. It has to be applied while the paint is still wet to have any real effect. Some of the colours are so subtle that you don't really see the effect as much, but you can certainly see it when I do these stronger, deeper colours, and you get to see the lighter colours bursting through. Isn't that an awesome technique? And so simple to do. I'm hoping that you'll all have a go at this technique and apply it to your works in your journals in the near future. Look at those colours bursting through there. Isn't that cool? I do love to create textural looks in my backgrounds. Layer upon layer upon layer, as they say. So just a couple more layers of paint till I'm happy with how much coloration and variation shows through. One thing you do notice is that often when you apply the next layer of paint, it will automatically resist where the alcohol has previously been. Look at that bright green, isn't it awesome? It's the alcohol and the water, like I said, that are reacting against each other that causes this effect to work. So if you don't remember to put a little bit of water with your paint, you won't actually get the effect happening. It only happens as long as you add a little bit of water to the paint before you paint it on, and then you can get the great effect with the alcohol. So I've nearly got this looking like what I'd like. I'm going for a deep dark tonal underwater theme. Now, following the quote, I am trying to create some light source coming into this dark water. So I start off with some white fluid paint, which I wasn't overly happy with how it was going, so when all else fails, use your fingers. That seems to be my theory anyway. And I add a small amount of yellow to it also to help it look like rays of sunshine coming through. Once that was done, I decided that they were way too thick and heavy, so before they dry, I am adding water with both brush and my fingers to thin the colour down and make it look more like rays coming into the water rather than just big blobs of solid. That's the great thing about fluid paints. You can make them as transparent as you want with very little effort. It's a much better result now. It looks much more like rays coming in. So then I decided that my underwater scene needed a little bit of sea life. So I've just grabbed a Scrap FX stencil, a little angelfish stencil, and I am painting those angelfish in with some vivid ultrametallic paints. As everybody who knows me well knows, I love my vivid paints. I love the metallic sheen of them. I also love how they, if put on lightly, are slightly translucent, so the fish scales and fish fins often look like they're slightly see-through, so these paints give me that ability to do that. Although under the lights the colour looks quite solid, but in real life you can actually see through them. Finally, final step, well, not quite the final step, but almost, I am adding my quote, "We are all broken, that's how the light gets in." I love this quote by Ernest Hemingway. I think it's very appropriate for Soul Journey 2018, and I think it's a very accurate description of all of us. Each of us has our own journey to make, and each of us is broken in some way or other, no matter how well we all try to hide it. Just detailing that quote with an aquarelle pencil which I absolutely love. And now I'm giving some shading to my angelfish, also again with that aquarelle pencil, just with a bit of water on my finger to activate it. And there is my finished page. I hope this little soul starter will give you some inspiration, and I hope you have a go at both this quote and the techniques I've shown you today. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you very much for coming on the soul journey with us in 2018. Bye for now.